It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it. Your brain is doing that thing again, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago for no reason at all. You feel broken. You feel like something is wrong with you. But the real answer is far stranger, and it has nothing to do with your phone, your stress, or your caffeine intake at 2 p.m. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a disorder. It was the plan. Your body still remembers this. It just never got the memo that the world changed. Go back before electricity, before gas lamps, before candles were something ordinary people could afford to burn all night. Go back to a world where the only light after sunset came from the moon, the stars, and whatever fire you kept alive. In that world, night didn't mean 8 uninterrupted hours of stillness. It meant something else entirely. The historian Roger Kirch spent over a decade digging through old diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe, and what he found rewired how sleep scientists think about the human night. Hundreds of documents, some dating back centuries, casually mention something called first sleep and second sleep. Not as a strange event. As a normal Tuesday, people would go to bed shortly after dark. They'd sleep for 3 or 4 hours. Then they'd wake up. Not in a panic, not reaching for their phone. They'd simply be awake, in the dark, for an hour or two. And what did they do with that hour? They prayed, they talked, they had sex, they tended the fire, they visited neighbors. Some read, if they could afford a candle and knew how. Some just lay there, thinking, in a kind of calm, half-lit consciousness that doesn't really have a modern name. Then eventually, they drifted into second sleep and woke again with the sun. This wasn't insomnia. This was Tuesday night, every night for most of human existence. Here's where it gets stranger. This pattern didn't disappear because humans evolved past it. It disappeared because someone invented a better light bulb. As cheap, reliable artificial light spread through cities in the late 1800s and early 1900s, the night stopped being empty. It filled up with work shifts, factory bells, street lamps, and eventually televisions. Bedtime got pushed later. The luxurious stretch of pre-dawn darkness that used to hold 2 sleeps and a quiet waking hour got compressed into one continuous block because staying up mattered more than the old rhythm did. By the time psychiatrist Thomas Wehr ran his now famous 1990s experiment, almost nobody remembered the old pattern existed. Wehr took a group of volunteers and put them in a room with 14 hours of darkness a night, no artificial light, nothing to do but exist in the dim. No screens, no candles, just darkness, the way a pre-industrial winter night would have looked. Within about a month, without anyone telling them to, the volunteers slid into the exact rhythm Kirch had found buried in old diaries. First sleep, a quiet waking period in the middle of the night. Second sleep, their bodies hadn't forgotten. They'd just never been given the darkness required to remember. So when you wake at 3 a.m. and lie there convinced something has gone wrong with your brain, consider this. Your brain might be doing exactly what it was built to do in a world that no longer gives it the conditions to do it comfortably. But sleep architecture is only half of this story. The other half is about what your ancestors were actually afraid of at night and why that fear still lives in your body right now. Anthropologists who study modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups like the Hadza of Tanzania and the San of the Kalahari, have found something researchers didn't expect. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led studies tracking the sleep of the Hadza, the San, and the Tsimane of Bolivia, using wrist monitors to measure real, unfiltered sleep patterns in populations living without electricity. And these groups, it turns out, don't sleep more than industrialized humans. In some cases, they sleep less. What's different isn't the quantity, it's the shape of the vigilance. In small foraging groups, someone is usually semi-awake at any given hour. Not standing guard like a soldier, but drifting in and out, alert to sound, alert to movement. Night was never fully safe. Night meant predators. Night meant rival groups. Night meant fire needed tending or the cold could kill you by morning. A brain that slept too deeply, too continuously, was a liability. That's not ancient history sitting quietly in a museum. That's wiring. Your amygdala, the almond-shaped cluster deep in your brain responsible for threat detection, doesn't know the difference between a saber-toothed cat outside your cave and a work deadline outside your bedroom door. It just knows the lights are off and something feels unresolved.